think there's a lot of nonsense out there for both children and adults in the media world and the entertainment world and whatever, that people are just constantly being hammered with all of these strange messages ranging from falsities to things that are perverse to things that are just nonsensical and are not very good worldviews. And there's a lot of those books that are aimed at children now in particular, which is
Yeah.
particularly strange. It's a little bit of a relatively new phenomenon. So anything that I can do to help counteract that, just like I counteract a lot of negative messaging in music and in rap and in hip hop through my own music, and I counteract a lot of the negative messaging on social media through my own social media. I thought, cool, this is just an opportunity to put out a positive message, not beat people over the head with anything political. The book's all about health, fitness, taking care of your body, having personal responsibility, and I made the whole thing rhyme. So I was able to use my rapper skills as well.
Nice. Yeah. No, I think there's a big movement and a push to do exactly what you're saying. I was thinking about Daily Wire had their announcement of, I think it's called Bent Key, the Bent Key app, I think is what it is.
Yep.
And they have, I looked at it the other day because I have a subscription, so that was included in. It looks like they've got a bunch of different shows on there, and it's not like overtly political. I think that's the mistake some organizations, or even I saw this with regards to religion, is that you have these Christian organizations that put out this information that obviously is Christian based, but they have a hard time winning the cultural war because it's so overtly political that it's hard to keep up with these leftist ideologies that I think are dangerous for our children. But I think that's where you're saying with the book is it's not overtly political. It's just good conservative messaging that will help turn the cultural tide for all of us.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think we're living in a strange time where just being sensible and speaking the truth and being sane is now called conservative.
Yeah.
So it didn't used to be the case. We're at this sort of very strange time over the past decade where simply not having this strange ideological possession and not playing identity politics all the time and not selling a victim mentality and talking about, hey, actually, there's only, you know, look, 15 years ago, if you said that there's only two genders, no one would consider that a political statement.
Right. They'd probably be wondering why you're even saying that
Why
because
are you
it's
even saying that, right? It
right.
didn't matter. Left, right, liberal, conservative, Democrat, Republican. Yeah, obviously, right?
Yeah.
That's just biology. That's just the human reality. But now something saying something like that, people interpret it in a political way. If I even sometimes talk about health and fitness and the importance of looking after your body and whatever, you've seen these goofy articles coming out the UK, the US, and Canada talking about how the far right is obsessed with fitness or how working out makes you right wing or whatever,
Or a
and you're just like,
misogynist or something. I think I saw one time.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Wait, this is exercise. Like this is exercise in sports. Is that really the thing that you're going to politicize now, right? Um, so yeah, my that book, The Candy Calamity, is not it's not political in the slightest. It's just a fun story of the a group of friends who, I'm not going to give away the whole story, but they encounter some obstacles and they initially fail to rise to the challenge because they're just totally out of shape. They've just been gorging themselves, they've not been exercising, they've just been being really lazy. And then they take this as a message to go back and get themselves in shape and do some training and so on. And then when the next challenge pops up, they're ready to face it. So it's fun. It's about moderation as well. It's about, make sure you don't. There's one of the characters in the book who exercises so much and that she forgets to eat. So she's just out there just
Mm.
training and training and training and not eating. So it's about the moderation as well, right? It's make sure you're not make sure you're exercising, but don't be exercising at the expense of not eating, right? You don't want to be stuffing yourself with food and being lazy, but you also don't want to be like going so crazy that you're letting all these other things fall to the wayside. And it's also just a story of friendship, and it's fun. It's fun. I had fun with it when I was a kid, and I used to watch cartoons. And by the way, all I used to watch was cartoons, and I used to read children's books and whatever. I just enjoyed the adventure and the fun. If there was a little positive message in there as well, then that's great. That's a bonus. And I think, yeah, we just need to get back to the basics on a lot of these things. So by writing the Candy Calamity, I feel like I was able to play a little role in that, and thousands of people out there have got the book and they've enjoyed it. I've had positive feedback from children and from parents, which is pretty cool. It's pretty cool when someone sort of DMs you a photo or emails you a photo of their child with the book, either just holding
Yeah,
it up and
man.
smiling or reading through it, and you're just like, man, that's cool. It's cool to create things and put them out there in the world, and then see people actually enjoying them and making the most of them.
Well, I think there's a legacy in that as well. That's probably the best compliment you can get, rather than somebody saying, "Hey, you helped me," is, "Hey, you helped me help my child." I mean, that's
Yeah.
so much more powerful. Even with my two youngest, they're 10 and 7. That's some of my favorite times with them is we sit in my bed and we read at night before they go to bed. And, I'm making silly voices and they're laughing and playing. Like, just doing that together is such a fun way to read to them, to teach them, to have fun, to be silly, but then also to learn some of these valuable lessons.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And the world just needs more love and more optimism and more positivity. It seems that for the look, the world's always been a dark place in certain ways. All through human history, there's been
Sure.
horrible stuff going on that human beings are experiencing or are even inflicting upon one another. And that's going on right now. It's always been going on. The media spotlight sort of puts our attention in different places, but somewhere in the world at all times, there's a war going on, there's a conflict, there's groups that are clashing, there's people fighting. And when you spend too much time watching the news, or even you spend a lot of time just scrolling through social media, you're just there constantly, whether it's X or it's Facebook or it's YouTube or whatever, it's easy to become extraordinarily pessimistic about the world and about the future of it and your own children's future and your potential grandchildren's future and what's going on in your country and all the politics and the culture war and this and that. It's very easy to get very heavily sucked into it. And when you do, it makes you constantly angry and anxious and frustrated. And it's a shame because it makes you forget all the good. It makes
Mm,
people forget all the positivity, right? You forget that actually most people, I always say that most people are good or at least trying to be.
I think
And I'd
so.
actually say a big part of being good is trying to be good, right? If someone were to ask me what do you think makes a good person? I'd be like, actually, I think actually the effort to be a good person is part of what makes somebody a good person.
Mm.
It doesn't mean that you're perfect. It doesn't mean that you don't err and you don't sin. We all do. But having that constant desire day to day to, okay, I want to be better. Let me try my best to live by my values and to do the right thing and to be disciplined and to treat other people well and so on.